Property taxes meant for schools don't always go to schools. Last year, nearly $10 million was diverted to developers.
But the Metro Council holds a vote tomorrow that could change Nashville's use of development incentives. It is an issue our investigative reporter Ben Hall has followed for years.
Nashville's downtown is full of gleaming new buildings, but Metro's latest budget could not even fully fund schools.
A++ international city, its city status, and we can't pay for the things that we do. So something's broken there.
Councilman Bob Mendez says things are out of balance. He wants to dramatically change a development tool the city has used for decades, one we first reported on 3 years ago.
I was running for office when your stories ran in 2015, and the first bill I introduced as a council member was the 2016 TIF reform.
What we found will surprise you.
Our stories on TIF, or tax increment financing, showed many downtown buildings are essentially off the property tax rolls. Most of those property taxes are diverted to Metro's development agency, MDHA, to pay for more development downtown. Only a fraction goes towards city services, like police, fire, and schools. And it's still happening. Take the new Westin Hotel. It paid more than $1.9 million in property taxes last year. But the vast majority of that went to MDHA to pay for its development loan. Only about $43,000 went to Metro to pay for city services. And the well-known AT&T building generated $2.2 million in property taxes last year. But look how much went to MDHA to help fund other development projects. Only $34,000 went to Metro to pay for city services.
You get used to doing things a certain way, and all of a sudden it's 30 years later and you're still doing things exactly the same way.
Mendez says TIF was needed years ago when downtown was different.
The sex trade on Lower Broad remains the biggest obstacle.
In 1977, the council declared downtown a slum area and blighted. That definition paved the way for the use of TIF. In 2009, the Metro Council again declared downtown blighted until the year 2040, so TIF loans could continue.
Broadway's not blighted, the Gulch is not blighted. Like, we could stop, we don't have to spend the rest of the TIF dollars in those districts just because they're there.
Mendez has sponsored 5 TIF reform bills, but his latest may be the biggest. It would hold back 31 cents on every dollar of TIF money going to MDHA and use it only for schools on all future projects.
We'd hold back 31 cents on the dollar in order to pay for the school system, and the rest would be available for development loans.
It would mean on a future TIF project like the Westin Hotel that generates $1.9 million in property taxes, $592,000 would be set aside for Metro schools. The rest would go toward debt payments or development loans.
Let's just catch our breath, study this, and then move forward.
MDHA oversees TIF, and its executive director, James Harbison, worries the council is moving too fast.
Does that mean you oppose the bill?
No, I just don't think I'm ready to say one way or the other because there's some pretty severe repercussions, possibly.
He says there's no rush because this only impacts future projects, and none are now pending. But TIF would forever be changed.
You may not get future projects, so that's your first risk. You may not have enough increment to have a program. I'm not saying that's for sure. It's possible.
Saving a little money for schools is not even a speed bump.
Mendez doubts it will destroy TIF and says it's time for the change.
I wish that government were better at reinventing itself and acknowledging new circumstances.
TIF has certainly received a lot of attention recently. That will continue with the council's vote tomorrow night on the Mendez bill. We'll let you know what happens.